I suspect my next review is going to be pretty uninteresting, but try and stick with it. This is the last of the Mastertronic Plus 299 releases, Rugby Manager. I'm not a rugby fan, by the way, that's why I think it's not going to be very interesting. Here's the front cover then. As I mentioned, it's a Mastertronic Plus release. It says Rugby Manager at the top. It's got 2 rugby players smashing each other's faces against one another and a bunch of rugby players at the bottom. Not particularly well drawn, not particularly imaginative either. And the spine says Rugby Manager on it. And the back cover has got some screenshots, very yellow and orange. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're probably Amstrad screenshots. It does say at the bottom there, screenshots may be taken from a different version. And the blurb says, Rugby Manager is a management style game, really, where you must put together the best players you can buy and take your team to the top of the league. Here are the instructions, and quite comprehensive they are too. That's an interesting thing at the top there, joystick only, because I would have thought for a game like this where you might want to be offering money for players and things like that, you might want some keyboard input as well. Anyway, it's got the loading instructions, and then it goes and tells you about the game. Team is chosen at random, and once this is done your office will appear, and there's various options from within the office. General info, transfer market, squad, buy players, resign, view the divisions, view the fixtures, all the usual stuff that you'd associate with a sports management game. I used to play a lot of football management games and was quite addicted to them, but I've just got no interest in rugby at all. I don't even know how you play rugby really, so this could be quite an interesting review on that respect. It then goes on and tells you about the menus, general information, transfer market, squad, buying and selling players, and statistics, playing a match obviously, viewing the divisions, viewing the fixtures, and you can also load and save data as you'd expect with a management game. And also there's some basic just loading instructions in the foreign languages. It looks to be quite comprehensive, and if it was a football management game I'd probably be quite excited about this, but because it's rugby, not so much. This is the loading screen, and it looks a bit Spectrum-esque. There's not a lot of colour on there, and the colours that are on there are all rather primary colours, which suggests it was done for a machine with a lesser palette. You can see there it was developed by PAL Developments. There's also a lot of text there that I can barely read. It does say Rugby League Manager, so it looks like it's a rugby league game rather than rugby union. Have I got a clue what the difference between the two is? Not really. And at the bottom there it says published under license by Virgin Mastertronic. So the game loads and you're presented with this view of the manager's desk, and on the top left it says there you've been offered the position of manager at Keighley. It just generates one of the team names randomly and offers you the job there. You don't get to choose which team you want to manage, and you get to enter your name. It gives you a few stats about the team there, but it's not like you've got a choice. Either you manage Keighley or you switch the game off. The game's obviously been ported over from the Spectrum based on the colour scheme, but it's worse than that. It's like the font size is minuscule. It's really difficult to read in a lot of cases. The text's almost like the lines are too close together. It's come straight from the Spectrum, and they haven't like redone the text for the resolution of the Commodore 64 screen, so it's really hard to read the stuff, and hopefully you can read some of it, but I can barely read some of it, so I'm sure you're going to have trouble as well. So anyway, we'll start the game. There's absolutely no sound, so the only sound you're going to hear is me. That's the extent of the keyboard interaction. You just put your name in and press enter, and you're presented with the manager's office. Nice view outside the window. You can't click on any of these things. You can see there's a pointer moving around, like a hand pointer. He's got a smutty calendar on the wall there. There's a few different things you can click down here, although it doesn't give you any indication of what does what. So there's a file of facts, that's the load and save data. There's some paper, that gives you general information about your team, the transfer market and the squad. Come back to that later. Calculator does nothing. The checkbook is for buying a player. The newspaper gives you the league tables and the fixtures. So for example, I can view this week's fixtures for Division 2, and Keighley are playing Featherstone in week 1. With the phone, you can check the statistics of another team. You can resign, which basically just resets the game, or you can start the next match. So if we look at the statistics of the opposition, who are Featherstone, not even in alphabetical order, they're just right at the bottom. It just tells you that their skill level is 5 and the morale is average. Compare that to my team currently, general information, skill level is 4 and the morale is average. In fact, there's no point using that other option because it's got the next opponent's details on that one anyway. So, let's have a look at my squad at the moment. Mixture of players. The options on the left there, if you can't read them, are move player, which basically moves a player in and out of the team. Sell a player, that just puts them on the transfer list and then eventually you'll get an offer for them. And information gives you information about a player, so I can pick one at random. I can barely read the names, but I think that says Tyres. He's made 11 appearances, scored 2 tries, got a skill level of 7, good morale, and he's got a value of 28,600. What it doesn't tell you is what position they play in. Basically, they're all just rugby players. That's actually an advantage for me because I don't know what rugby players are supposed to play in what part. But there's nothing to sort of make a formation or put the best players in the best position. You've just got 13 rugby players who you just put in a squad and then start a game. So I will adjust the squad slightly. So I'll move a player. For example, there's a player there that's got a skill level of 1. So I'll swap him for one of these 2 subs that's got a skill level of 2. And the same for this guy. And you can't buy any new players while you've got a full squad of players. So if I want to put better quality players in for those 2 that I've just put into the subs bench, then I have to sell them. So I'm going to put them both on the transfer market so that I can try and sell them and get a better player in replacement for them. Squad. Sell player. Okay, so my 2 subs are now on the transfer list. What happens if I've got any injuries? Well, nothing, as you'll see in a second, because I'm going to go and play the first match. So let's play the game. So you get the match screen. At the top there you've got an interpretation of a rugby pitch. The yellow bar is telling you where the play is at the moment. At the bottom you've got the 2 team names. The one that's lit up white is the one that's currently in possession. There's a text commentary that's basically just saying pretty basic stuff like such and such a player catches the ball, player is tackled by another player, player receives the ball, and so on. It runs pretty slowly. The time's ticking down. First half, the time's ticking down there, currently at 32 minutes, but you can press a fire button to speed it up. You may as well, because there's absolutely no interaction with the game. You can't make any substitutions. There's no tactical stuff to be done. Basically, you're just watching the game being played and hoping for the best. So we're just approaching the end of the first half. And at half time, it's 0-0. What a thrilling game of rugby. I didn't think 0-0 was possible in a game of rugby. So off we go with the second half. Blah, blah, blah. Possession changes. Time ticks away. Still 0-0. Possession moves around a bit. People catch the ball. People throw the ball. 10 minutes left and no score. Keighley are making it a bit of an approach towards getting a try. No, full time and it was 0-0. Thrilling stuff, I'm sure you'll agree. So as you can see, there's no tactical influence that you can have on the game. There's no substitutions you can make to try and freshen things up like you'd expect in any kind of sports like football management game. Basically, it just then calculates all the results from the other games and you can see them just about on the screen there in this tiny font. And then you get the details of your gate receipts. £44,450 wages, money for new kits, and then it tells you what you've got in the bank, which is currently 8,640. Tells you that the attendance was average. Can't influence the attendance or anything like that. This is more like almost like a rugby chairman simulator where you basically buy and sell players and then watch the game. But you can't influence the finances of the club because you can't reduce or increase ticket prices. You can't control the cost of anything else that goes on at the game. So there's a bit of transfer news there. Wakefield buy one of my players, such and such. I think that's his Manning from Keighley. So that means I've got a gap in the squad now. So let's take a look at the transfer market. You can see some players there, which includes my player at the bottom there. But what I want is someone who costs about 10 grand. Because I've got 8 grand in the bank and I've just got 4 grand. And basically there isn't one. So at the moment all I could do is buy another player with a skill level of 1 and a value of 4,000. So there's not a lot of points at the moment. So what I'm going to do is play through another couple of games, see if anything interesting happens. I can assure you it's not going to. So I'm approaching the end of my second game and Keighley have just scored. Exciting stuff. It's 6-0. 10 minutes going in the second half against Rochdale. Let's just skip along to the end again. Looks like I'm going to get a win, yeah. So, a little bit of calculation by the computer to work out the scores from the other games. And there's the results. And that was an away game, so I've got no income. I've only got wages, transport and general bills. The attendance was average again. Let's have another look at the transfer market, see if anyone's come onto the market that can is actually worth buying. And the answer is nope. I've only got £10,000. The only 2 players are skill level 1. I don't want either of them. I'm coming to the last few minutes of my third game, which at least was a little bit more exciting. Currently winning 12-6 with 5 minutes to go. Can Castleford snatch something at the death? No, it's full time. And my team's won again. It's easy, this rugby management. I don't know anything about rugby, and yet my team should be comfortably at the top of the league after 3 games. What I would presume happens is if you come top of the league, you then get promoted to Division 1 and go through it all again. Otherwise you just play through Division 2 again. But it's so utterly boring because there's absolutely nothing you can do. There's no training you can put the players on to make them better. There's no injuries to manage or anything like that. There's no wages to manage. If the players are unhappy, you can't offer them more money to make them happy. Basically, you just, whatever happens, happens. You don't have any control over that. So gate receipts and TV money means I've now got 16 grand in the bank. Crowd trouble is reported and the cost of damage is £1,000. Ooh, exciting. And transfer news, Wigan buy somebody from Barrow, I think that is. That's nothing to do with me. Let's see, I don't think I'm going to be able to buy a player from the transfer market again. There's now 3 crap players, all with skill level 1, none of which I want. And I don't think I've got enough to buy that one at 16,100. Nope, not enough money. So play one more game and just see if I can get enough money to buy a new player. So I just got a hiding off Whitehaven, 16-0. The wheels have come off my promotion push already. 13 grand in the bank. And one of my players is injured, so you do get injuries. Well, that's new. I didn't realise that happened. So that means I've got to do a bit of squad management now. The only problem being I haven't got anyone to put into the position that player has just vacated. I assume he just reappears on the squad list when he's no longer injured. You could have just highlighted him red and allowing him not to be selected. So I'm going to have to go and buy a player now because I need a player to fill in that gap. So let's buy this guy. No, let's buy this guy. He's the cheapest, Edwards. I bought Edwards from Wigan. That was an easy transfer deal. No wages to negotiate. And put him into the squad. Or he's gone into the squad automatically. And guess what? That's it. Off we go with another game. So another game completed, a Yorkshire derby. Aren't they all in rugby most of the time anyway, all somewhere in the north for the majority of the games. And I lost again to Leeds. Got some gate receipts, so got 12 grand in the bank now. And McGregor's returned from injury. That's all good. Somebody's bought someone from somewhere. I must now have enough money with a bit of squad rearrangement. I must now have some money to buy another player, a better player. So it looks like McGregor, I'm sure he had a skill level of higher than 1. His skill level's now dropped down to 1. So it looks like the longer the game goes on, some of the skill levels actually drop. So I'm going to sell the guy that I just bought anyway. Can't even tell which one he was now. I'll just sell that guy. He's got a skill level of 1. And that should hopefully allow me to buy a better player now. But they're all rubbish. They're all too expensive. You know what? I just give up. This is a garbage game. It's absolutely no fun whatsoever. There's no excitement to be had like you can with a football management game of buying and selling players, wheeling and dealing, getting them trained up, getting the squad arranged into the right formation, all that stuff which makes a football management game good. Could have been put into this game, but instead they thought it would be sufficient for you to just buy and sell odd players and play a game, watch it all unfold without any interaction. It's utter garbage, and interface is pretty poor, although I do like the fact that it's got a kind of faux Microsoft Windows version 3.1 interface, but it's pretty terrible. The graphics are awful, there's no sound, the gameplay's almost non-existent, and enough's enough. I'm not a fan of rugby, but even if you were a rugby fan, stay well away from this. Definitely not worth the $2.99 asking price.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
2, 1, 0.